In this tutorial, I want to show how to create a navigation bar like this. So as you can see, we switch tab, we change icon, and there is an indicator. And if we change tabs fast, we crossfade this indicator. There is also a blue behind this bar, and it works no matter if you have any system indicators here or not. So on this device, there is no indicator. And here is Android as well. So let's implement this. Okay guys, after I recorded this video, I realized that my face over here covers half of the tab navigation tab bar on the iPhone, and unfortunately I don't have enough time to re-record this, but I hope it won't annoy you too much and you'll still enjoy the video. Most of it is just hidden couple of icons like bell and search, and it's exactly the same as on the left side, so it shouldn't really affect you. But again, sorry for this. Okay, so let's start from our home page with prototypes router and routes. We use AutoRoute library for this setup. It's very straightforward, but let me know if you want a separate video of how to set this up. Right now we don't have any bottom navigation bar. We have only scaffold and our child. And I already created a task is navigation bar right here. Right now it's just a container with navigation bar text. So let's add it as bottom navigation bar, task as navigation bar. Once we do this, we can see that it takes the whole height. So we need to limit the height right here. And let's make it toolbar height at this moment. Next step, what I want to do is to make sure that we can have the content of our page scrolled right underneath this navigation bar. Let's try to make our background transparent. And if we do this, we cannot really see the content behind it. To fix this, we need to say that we want to extend our body to true. And now we can see the body displays underneath our navigation bar. As next step, let's switch tabs. So we have 4 tabs right here. And in our design, we also have a huge plus icon as well. Let's first define our tabs. So we have dashboard, projects, notifications, and search. And let's create a type for listener when some tab is selected. And here what we can do is we can create 3 or 4 of our buttons just for now. So let's create a row. Okay, so now we have our buttons. Let's see how it looks like. Here is our buttons. Let's just switch our tab when we press them. And let's make this not transparent, just for now. So what we want to do is we want to receive our tabs router, and we want to say set active index. So let's try projects, add does nothing, notifications, and fetch. So basic structure is done. Now let's try to customize it and make it pretty. Okay, now what I want to do is to display our nicely looking icons. If you go to our Figma design and we check them, see that there are multiple states for active icon and different other states. So like this bell, so it's filled when it's active and it's empty when it's not. I exported this as SVGs, not as fonts, just because there are multiple colors in these icons. It's white and some transparent gray. I did this behind the scenes and put them in task as assets, so we can use these SVGs. And for displaying SVG, we will use Flutter SVG library. So now let's try to display them. Let's say SVG picture, asset, and for now let's just display normal icons. So basket assets, IC dashboard, and here is our icon. Our plus is a little bit custom, so we will work on it a little bit later. And here are our icons. And we need projects here. So this is our icons. Now let's fix height of our toolbar. So what we want to do is we want not only toolbar height, but add bottom padding. And what we also do is we want to space them evenly in our row. And just to make it look a little bit nicer, like here, we want to add some paddings from left and right as well. Now let's limit this text button size to border size for the plus icon. It's 40. So let's say, let's actually implement our plus icon here. So let's just also make sure that there is no other effects here, because usually designers like to, and here is it, it's our drop shadow. How we can easily see this in our Figma? We can just say and we can easily see this shadow. So what's the properties? Let's just copy this in our container. So just for the test, we can make the color of our background as white. And now we have this shadow the same way. I hope you guys can clearly see that there is a shadow now on this plus icon. So our plus is ready. Let's return our background. And now let's make the background of our navigation bar with blue and to match our design. So for this, what we can see that the blue is 21 and the color is this one with 85% opacity. And now you can definitely see that there is a blue effect when you scroll. Usually it's the most easy way to see is when you have these bright icons and you pay attention. When you scroll, you can see that there is something right here. Okay, what can we do next? I'd say next we can remove this pressed effect and we can display the active icon correctly so users can see on which tab they are. For this, let's introduce new widget like just to align our tabs evenly. Let's say that each item should have size 40 by 40. So let's turn our size box 40 by 40. And in our taskers tab, all we want to know if this tab is active or not. And we need two assets, so normal asset and active asset. We also want to know when this tab is clicked, so let's provide callback on tab. We also want to make our behavior opaque, just because the size of the asset like cannot always be like 40 by 40, and we want to make it more easy for users to tap on this icon. So now let's try it. Okay, and as you can see, icons are too big, so let's try to fix this here. And let's try to switch our active property. Now let's remember which tab is active and which one is not, and switch this programmatically. So for this, we obviously need to store the index of active tab. So let's say active tab equals to 0 initially. And we want to notify our parent about new tab selected, but we also want to change active tab index. So let's create a helper function here. And now we can just compare if... Actually, you know what? I think it's better not to store this as index, but we can just store it as task is tab. Okay, let's test it. So dashboard, now projects, notifications, and search. The only problem is that we don't really switch tabs, so and the problem is right here. So on task as tab selected, we need to say actual tab. So dashboard, projects, notifications, and search. Okay, everything is done except this indicator. And as you can see in Figma, it's implemented not in a very friendly for developers way. So we need to find another way to implement this. Okay, what my plan is to have a separate row with 5 children, because we know the size of each icon. It's 40 by 40, so we can say that this row will have the exact same layout like this one. It will be just below it. And we can display this in a column, not container. So let's try to do this. So column, height. Now how we can measure the height? I'll do just this. And as you can see, it's 12 units. Let's say 12. And let's say it as a red for now. Now we have it right here, but we want them at the bottom of our navigation bar. So let's say main axis argument space between. Now we actually don't want to display them all at once, and we want nice animation effect. So what we can do is we can just swap each one of them in animated opacity. And we can specify opacity based on the active widget. So let's actually create a new widget called indicator, active tab indicator. We don't actually need active indicator for plus, but we just need to occupy this space, so we can just say that it's always false. The notifications and search for this one, and let's try it. And as you can see, we got this nice animation effect when we switch tabs. Okay, let's change this red rectangle to our shape. And for this, we need to use custom paint. I will have a separate tutorial about how to work with custom paints, but for now, let's implement this one here. So and there are two methods here, like paint and should repaint. We should never repaint. And in terms of painting for this shape, we can use custom path. So let's just define our paint first. And for path, I already prepared Johnson. You can actually play with these parameters a little bit. We actually like construct our path, and all we need to do is draw it. And let's try it right here. So active tab indicator painter. I'm not sure what's wrong. Oh, okay, we don't need this. And here is our shape. Same animation effect goes as with our red rectangle, but now it's nicely looking shape. And we can actually change the height a little bit here to make it look more like on a design. So it's very small difference, but now it looks way more close to our design. Okay, now let's fix our navigation bar on smaller devices like iPhone 8. If you launch, we will see that we got an overflow issue. And the reason because we rely on our padding at the bottom. So to fix this, I'd say we can use maximum value of our bottom padding or 32. Or even let's say 16. This way, if we have our bottom padding, we will use bottom padding. If not, we will use 16. And it fixes this issue. Another thing I want to do is if we click on active tab, we go to the root of our container. And to do this, what we need to check is if we are clicking on the active tab right now. And let's check this right now. So if router active index equals tab index, we can find our stack router for this index. And we can pop until root. Let's try it. So everything works here. If we go on a deep level and we click the same tab, we go to the top level. Seems like it works great. Thank you guys, and please subscribe.